Welcome to today's travel talk. We're just going to give everybody a few minutes to just get on to the platform. I can just see everybody kind of joining us now, so I'd like to welcome everybody. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. And I hope you're going to enjoy our short little hour-long trip to Australia. It'll be the shortest trip to somewhere really far away that you will have ever taken. Okay, looks like we're doing pretty good with everybody in. So I'm going to get started, and then as people join us, they can catch up. Just to let you know that, the show will be recorded, so I will send everybody that attends a copy of the recording in the next few days. If you want to watch it again, or if you miss any of it, if you have to leave early, or if you want to, of course, share it with somebody. Also, we're going to keep questions to the end of the presentation. So there will be, it's either at the bottom of your screen or maybe off to the right or left hand side, depending how you have your webinar screen set up. There's a box that says Q&A. If you want to type any questions that you think of during the show into the Q&A, feel free to do that. And we're going to keep those questions till the end of the presentation, and we will read them out and answer them. Also, if at the end of the presentation you would like to have your microphone opened up and actually come on and speak and ask a question or make a comment, just there's a little button to raise a hand. So raise your hand and we will then open up your mic so that you can talk. Also, during the show, if you want to say any comments, chat with anybody else, welcome other guests, say hi, you can do that in the chat. So the chat, just make sure you have it set for presenters and attendees, because you have to change that. It's probably defaulted to just presenters, so you can change that to presenters and attendees. And you can say hello to everybody out there watching, or if you have any quick questions, you can ask them in there. So let's get started. Just a little bit about who we are. We're the Women's Travel Club. We do small group women-only tours all over the world. Most of the women that come on our tours join us as solo travelers. So they're coming by themselves onto the tour, and they will quickly make some great travel friends. So they may not have had, coming into this, a great group of people to travel with, but by the time their first tour is done, they'll have a good base of friends to travel. The groups are small, so we keep them to 16 women per tour, sometimes even less, depending on the destination. And if it's vehicles, like somewhere like Africa, where we have smaller vehicles or such, then it may be even smaller than 16. We do hope that at some point you'd love to travel with us. We guarantee you will have a great time and then have great future travels. We do have a tour to Australia coming up. We will put a link in the chat. Maybe Debbie can do that. She'll put a link in the chat to our Australia tour so that you can click on that and have a look at the tour if Australia is a destination that ends up interesting you, which I'm sure it will. It's really an amazing destination. So I'm Marianne. I am head of the marketing department. I do a lot of these travel talks. We have Debbie from the tour department, and she's going to man the chat. So any questions or anything, she knows a lot about this tour. She puts all our tours together. So she is the one to ask anything in the chat like that. And then I also have Irene here from operations. Hi, Irene. Irene's gonna help me with the presentation today. And if you've ever called in or gone on the chat, you have most likely spoken with Irene, because she's kind of our first line when you're contacting the Women's Travel Club. So thank you, Irene and Debbie, for helping out and being here. And thank you everyone for attending. So let's head to Australia.
So hi, everybody. So I'm just going to narrate for a little while. So here we go. Some statistics for Australia. It's the only continent covered by a single country, yet it's the 6th largest in terms of world landmass. It's also the driest of any continent on Earth, other than Antarctica, and also the only continent in the world without an active volcano. However, if we were to squeeze to the lower section, New Zealand's got plenty of volcanoes to make up for it.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving along.
Here we go.
So as you can see, the seasons are reverse. That's the other side of the world. So there's summer, December, January, February can be quite hot. And in some areas such as Darwin or Brisbane, they can have substantial amounts of rainfall. Now winter, June, July, August. Winter in most parts of Australia is that time. For the Northern Territory, this falls into the dry season. Sorry, it falls within the dry season, making it an ideal time to visit the north of the country, which includes Darwin, the top end, and the Kimberley. From the balmy afternoons in the north to the freezing temperatures and snow in many places south of Sydney. You'd head to the Australian Alps and Tasmania if you're keen for a white winter. Traveling to Australia during winter is quite pleasant and offers a diverse range of activities and attractions to discover. And I just lost my screen. So, if you can bear with me.
Okay, I'll keep going. The Outback in the center of the country can have nighttime temperatures that drop below 0 degrees and thick frost on the ground that can resemble a carpet of snow. Winter in Australia is generally less crowded, but you may find more local families in the ski fields during mid-July when schools have their break period.
Thank you.
Are you back?
Yep, I'm back. You only have to put the screen, touch the screen in the wrong spot and it's gone. So traveling to Australia during the shoulder season, which is the spring and fall, is generally cheaper and it's less crowded, making it a great time to explore the country. The tropical North's wet season extends beyond and through April, and many tourist attractions may be closed for the season, but May is a better time to plan your visit to the Kimberley region or to Darwin. In the south of Australia, autumn brings cooler days with occasional rain. There are many exciting festivals and events on during that period, making it an ideal time to see the capital cities or head to the wine regions for a vintage celebration. The fall is generally a pleasant and uncrowded time to visit. For the Northern Territory, September and October fall within the dry season, while November marks the start of the wet season. Still, you're heading for Darwin, Kakadu, aiming for early spring. Did that make any sense, what I just said?
Yeah.
Not sure. Okay, good. Okay. So another season we've probably all heard of. So fire season. Bushfires in Australia are a widespread and a regular occurrence that have contributed significantly to shaping the nature of the continent over millions of years. Eastern Australia is one of the most fire-prone regions of the world, and its predominant eucalyptus forests have evolved to thrive on the phenomenon of bushfire. While bushfires can happen at any time of the year in Australia, the time of peak bushfire activity varies across the country with the changes in the seasonal weather pattern. For Northern Australia, the peak bushfire period is during the dry season, which is generally throughout the winter and spring. In Southern Australia, the bushfire season peaks in summer and fall. While these are traditional peaks of the bushfire season, local conditions can change according to activity at that time. And this little fellow who we're all very familiar with, in every corner of Australia, you'll find unique experiences and landscapes bursting with color, culture, and natural beauty. Australia is the 6th largest landmass in the world, which explains in some ways the reason why it's so diverse. It consists of 6 states and 2 territories, all offering a wide range of attractions and landscapes to just pull you in. Tropical rainforests, red deserts, coral reefs, snow-clad mountains, wetlands, winelands, national parks, bushland, and so much more. Now let's explore some of the top destinations. And you're on fire season, Marianne?
I'm sorry.
There we go. So for those that might recognize this, the Sydney Opera House. So Sydney is Australia's biggest and most cosmopolitan city, and it is an essential stop on any traveler's Australian vacation. Surrounding the city is a wonderland of national parks, forests, mountains, river valleys, and historic riverside towns. European settlers were there, but predominantly we remember the first white settlers to be arriving. They arrived in 1788, which were the English to set up the penal colonies, finding the world's largest natural harbour, and along with that, 70 beaches along the coast. So Sydney is located on the east coast of the country in the state of New South Wales. It's the first stop on most itineraries, and for good reason. It's an inviting blend of the exhilarating and easygoing. You can find excitement in the city, but if you drive just a few miles, you'll hit the golden sands of famous beaches like Manly and Bondi, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. Sydney has so much more to see and do. Let's have a look at some of the attractions in and around this fantastic city. Sydney Harbour is surrounded not only by the downtown core of the city, but also by miles of shoreline, which include a number of Sydney's suburbs. One way to explore the harbour is to enjoy a short cruise or take one of the many ferries heading to multiple destinations from Circular Quay in the downtown area. And of course, the Sydney Opera House is an iconic feature. It opened in 1973. It's not only unique and unforgettable in its design, but it's a thriving venue for the arts, music, opera, and culture. And here, beautiful scene at night. Many ways that you can experience the Sydney Opera, what the Sydney Opera House has to offer. So being a masterpiece of 20th century architecture, it hosts more than 40 performances each week. You can book tickets for the latest shows, and the Sydney experience, this should be on your bucket list. If what happens off stage also intrigues you, they do have 2-hour backstage tours, which take guests behind the scenes into the exclusive domain of performers, which will include a full cooked breakfast in the actors' green room, and tours operate daily. And then to cap it off, there's fine dining overlooking the harbour at Peter Gilmore's restaurant. It's a most awarded fine dining experience. And this again, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, known as the coat hanger, it defines the city skyline and connects the central part of the city within the northern suburbs. It's in fact the world's largest steel arch bridge. Visitors are free to walk or cycle across this vast structure, but you can also book a bridge climb. Gives you the opportunity to scale to the summit and enjoy unbeatable panoramic views. Those expeditions can take you high into the arches, as you can see, before reaching the peak, which is 440 feet above sea level. And you don't need any special climbing skills. And there are various sessions throughout the day, including at twilight and at dawn. And another scary height, the Sky Tower. It's the city's tallest freestanding structure and the tallest observation tower in the Southern Hemisphere. Twice the height of the Harbour Bridge, the golden turret at the top has 2 levels of restaurants, including telecommunications transmission level, but also an observation deck to view stunning panorama of the city. And am I scrolling? Yeah. Now we're into the history. Also located downtown is the Rocks District, Sydney's most historic precinct with its many sandstone buildings, cobblestone streets and monuments, marking moments in history which allow you to gain an appreciation of Sydney's foundation as a convict-built settlement. This was the first part of Sydney to be settled. The Rock offers some of Sydney's finest dining and entertainment as well. Bondi Beach, just one of the beautiful beaches close to Sydney. It's about 4 miles from the centre, probably Australia's most famous beach. Not only is it a beach for swimming and surfing, but all the other things that we would come to expect: cafes, seafood restaurants, bars, clubs, all there for you. And this beautiful scene, known as the Three Sisters, along with quaint hotels and charming townships, it's the Blue Mountains National Park, which can be reached in just under 2 hours from Sydney. Here, over 2.5 million acres, which consist of tall forests, sandstone cliffs, waterfalls, and bushland. You're free to mountain bike, to climb, or just simply walk on foot, but certainly a variety of options for you to do. For a unique perspective, you can head to Scenic World at Katoomba, which is home to a cableway, which is a walkway over the rainforest canopy, and also a glass-bottom skyway. After a morning of exploring, you can also stop for high tea at the Hydro Majestic Hotel. Also worth noting, because Australian wines are quite well known, on trips to Australia, the acclaimed wine country of Hunter Valley, which is Australia's oldest wine producing area. It's 75 miles north of Sydney. You can sample fine wines while enjoying the local grown food in the many restaurants, enjoy the ambience of the area, but for those non-tasting activities, you can take a cruise on the Hunter River or Lake Macquarie, or a ride on a steam train at the Richmond Vale Railway Museum. Now let's head to the west coast to Perth, the capital of Western Australia. Australia's 4th largest city, and it's located on the Swan River, with its suburbs being located on the Indian Ocean. Although it appears to be cut off from the rest of Australia, it is an easygoing, friendly, and relaxed atmosphere. And for those travelers with some extra time, one of our Perth tours is a great addition for an Australian vacation. It's the sunniest state capital and enjoys glorious sunny weather most of the year. This might explain the reason for the reputation of its beaches. It has 19 in total, beautifully clean and uncrowded. Now let's take a look at the great areas around Perth to visit. So Western Australia's oldest wine region, Swan Valley, is home to 40 vineyards, many of them offering you tasting of the region's warm climate wines. You can drive or you can cycle your way through the region's famous eateries, wines, breweries, and wineries. Swan Valley is also home to Caversham Wildlife Park, where visitors can meet those koalas and feed friendly kangaroos, and also the Aboriginal Gallery, which offers an easily accessible and fascinating introduction to the Aboriginal art, food, and culture. View the works of Noongar artists, create your own artwork, or just enjoy a bush tucker talk and tasting. And now Fremantle. Fremantle is a 30-minute drive south of Perth Centre, which blends interesting colonial remnants with the famous Little Creatures Brewery. Oh, and there we go again. I've got it. Here we go. So Fremantle Prison. You can take one of their many eerie tours. The history of Fremantle Prison dates back to the early beginnings of Western Australia, and its role in the development of this state was unparalleled. It's the largest convict-built structure in Western Australia and the most intact convict establishment in the nation. In 2010, the prison became the first building in Western Australia to be included on the World Heritage List. Decommissioned as recently as 1991, the prison was continuously used as a place of incarceration for well over 140 years. It has death row, solitary cells, and gallows, and is a monument to a system of punishment that is uncomfortably recent. You can even search for your convict ancestors. They have a fully interactive convict database. And Fremantle. Perched on the Indian Ocean shores, the Western Australia Maritime Museum is symbolic of Fremantle's past, present, and future as a coastal city and port. The museum houses several unique galleries that explore Western Australia's maritime relationship, from leisure boats, handcrafted sailing boats, to commercial pearl luggers. The museum inspires visitors to discover Western Australia's affinity with the ocean. Melbourne, Australia's second largest city, stylish and cosmopolitan, voted by The Economist as the world's most livable city. Part of this is the abundance of parks and gardens, the capital of Victoria. It's situated on an estuary of the Yarra River and boasts world-class culture, sports, and dining on an Australian vacation. Melbourne is a blend of bustling laneways, world-class restaurants, captivating museums. The locals love their coffee and serve it up in abundance at cozy cafes. There's always a sense of excitement here, whether it's in the city's fascinating flavor or fierce sports rivalry. Here are a few things that you might want to do while you're visiting Melbourne. Wander through their laneways. The center of Melbourne is threaded with cobblestone laneways, which have become a mecca for coffee shops, cafes, unique shopping boutiques. You start at what's called Flinders Street Station. You wander down De Grave Street. You explore the city's beautiful arcades and street art around every corner, which includes works from England-based graffiti artist Banksy. And that looks appealing. Get a taste of Melbourne's best coffee. For Melburnians, coffee is more than just an essential part of their morning coffee and routine. It's become so deeply embedded in the culture that it's truly evolved into an art form. Home to thousands of cafes and some of the world's best baristas, you'll never be far away from a sophisticated cup of, they refer to single origin coffee. Australia's signature coffee is the flat white, which is similar to a latte. But you also find cold drip, pour over, siphon, and even Instagram-worthy green matcha, blue algae, and turmeric-infused lattes. Head to St. Ali in southern Melbourne, Seven Seeds in Carlton, or Industry Beans in Fitzroy to see for yourself just how serious they are about coffee. And shopping, yes, renowned for its markets, Melbourne sells everything from local produce to art and crafts and vintage fashion. Get among the hustle and bustle of the Queen Victoria markets, the largest open air market in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, you'll be there for a while. You can take a bus from there to the Southern Melbourne market and enjoy dim sum or street style Mexican food under its historic awnings. On weekends, pick up handmade pieces from emerging Australian designers like the Rose Street Artists Market in Fitzroy, which is just a quick tram ride from the city centre. For the evening scene, sip cocktails at a rooftop bar. Enjoy drinks with a view at one of Melbourne's many rooftop bars. Popping up across the city centre and the bohemian neighbourhoods of Fitzroy and Carlton, these high altitude bars enable you to watch the sunset with a drink in hand. Rooftop bar gracing Curtin House in the city centre. It transforms into a rooftop cinema in the summer, and nearby the very unique Madame Brussels.
Okay. She skipped the Naked in the Sky bar.
Quite know how to say it. I thought it was best not to discuss it. Okay.
I don't think you really have to be naked at the bar.
Okay, now we're heading over to Tasmania. Tasmania's capital city is Hobart. With daring art, dynamic food scene, and a wealth of natural attractions, Hobart is a small city with big ideas. Climb a mountain, view captivating modern art, all in the same day. Eat fish and chips from a floating fish punt on the docks, or dine in the finest and freshest of restaurants. Add thriving markets, as well as unsurpassed natural settings and a tangible sense of history. And Tasmania's capital city really does have it all. So around the harbour, the area is, as you can see, lively and colourful. Many of the disused warehouses have been converted into dockside cafes, artist studios and restaurants. Try the fresh seafood at one of Hobart's waterside restaurants while watching the colourful spinnakers bobbing in the water. Take a drive up to Mount Wellington, where you have a bird's eye view of the whole surrounding area. By walking across Australia's oldest bridge to Richmond, you arrive at a picturesque town, which was an early Australian colonial village on the banks of the Coal River. Richmond Jail dates back to 1825, Australia's oldest. The jail, as we see it today, was built over a period of 15 years, between 1825 to 1840. The oldest part of the building has not only provided night and day quarters for prisoners, but also housed the jailer. Over the years, more buildings were added. There was a jailer's house, a cookhouse, solitary confinement cells. From 1877 until 1928, Richmond Jail was utilized as the local lockup and was then closed down, opened again in the 40s as a historic site and visitors attraction. Oh, look at this. Hobart is a great starting point to explore the wild, spectacular scenery and the stunning, unspoilt views and wilderness that is Tasmania. From the squeaky white sands and lichen-splashed granite of the east coast to the bleak alpine plateaus of Cradle Mountain, Lake St. Clair National Park, Tasmania, is full of natural beauty. Hiking opportunities range from short, waterfall-punctuated forest trails to multi-day wilderness epics with no one else in sight. You can explore the island's craggy coastlines and wild rivers by kayaking, rafting, on a yacht or a cruise boat. Tassie's native wildlife is ever present. And as we can see on this image, Tasmanian devils, after dark, they share the Southern Ocean swell. Sorry, you can view them after dark. The Southern Ocean swell also produces the seals and dolphins, or you can watch penguins waddling home at dusk.
Okay, so now let's head over to the eastern Gold Coast. It's located about 60 miles south of Brisbane and is a major Australian tourist destination in Queensland. It has 35 miles of coastline, year-round sunshine, and a subtropical climate. Oh, what would I give to be there now? It's also known as the entertainment capital of Queensland, along with long stretches of sandy beaches to be enjoyed on an Australian vacation. The three major beach areas are Surfers Paradise Beach, an excellent place for shopping with 14 shopping centers, and also around 120 market stalls offering everything under the sun. The main beach is a stylish resort with outstanding dining, cafes, and shopping. And Broad Beach is known as a dining mecca and also has attractive, pristine beaches. Watch here for museums, musicians, and entertainers who roam the streets, all offering excellent swimming and surfing, as well as golf, spas, theme parks, and museums. The Gold Coast star attraction is its beaches, including the world-renowned stretch of sand at Surfers Paradise. Beyond the beaches, discover laid-back neighborhoods, a booming culinary scene, and the Gold Coast's famous theme parks. And be sure to leave enough time for a trip into the subtropical hinterland for rainforest walks and waterfalls. Besides the beaches, there are some other great ways to keep busy on the Gold Coast. Get your adrenaline fix at the theme parks, as well as its beaches. The Gold Coast is equally famed for its world-class theme parks. Water lovers should head to Wet n Wild with its extreme water slides such as Kamikaze and the Tornado. Warner Brothers Movie World is great for families with plenty of kid-friendly attractions and a chance to meet lovable cartoon characters. Dream World caters to the adventure seekers with big rides, including the Giant Drop, Tower of Terror, and Buzz Saw. I don't know which one that was.
Yeah, not for me.
Explore the lush Gold Coast hinterland. Turn away from the beach and explore the enchanting Gold Coast hinterland with its unspoiled national park and charming mountain villages. Adventure seekers can test their legs on a 3-day Gold Coast hinterland Great Walk, which passes an ancient volcano, which we know would be extinct,
Yeah.
and goes through World Heritage listed Gondwana rainforest and follow a cycle trail through the wineries and boutique breweries of Mount Tambourine. At Lamington National Park, stroll through the rainforest canopy 15 meters above ground at O'Reilly's Treetop Walk, or book a 4-wheel drive rainforest eco safari to see the spectacular waterfalls at Springbrook, including the Natural Bridge. Or, this is where you'd find me, play a round of golf on top golf courses. Picturesque and challenging golf courses await you on the Gold Coast course. Choose a resort course such as Palmer Gold Coast, carved out of 160 acres of native woodlands, the RACB Royal Pines Resort, which is home to the Australian PGA Championship, or the Intercontinental Sanctuary Grove, which give you access to the Palms and Pines courses. Alternatively, you can try one of the public courses at Parkwood International, an 18-hole course set in undulating bushland around a series of lakes and ponds. Okay, like everything in that sentence makes me think, oh, I don't have enough golf balls. Undulating bushland around lakes and ponds. So much for golf balls.
Does it mean she's a good golfer or not?
I'm sure she's way better than me. Okay, now the Great Barrier Reef is a natural gift to Australia, a truly wondrous underwater phenomenon. It is the world's largest coral reef system with 2,900 individual reefs and 900 islands located off the coast of Queensland in the Coral Sea. Just to give you an idea of its size, it stretches 1,600 miles and is the world's biggest single structure made by living organisms. In fact, it was declared a World Heritage Site in 1981 and a must visit on any Australia vacation. Home to diverse marine life of the most vivid colors, the Great Barrier Reef offers the opportunity for great adventure. You can snorkel, swim, or dive at the reef, or if you don't want to get wet, go on a glass-bottom boat. Whether you explore the stunning Whitsunday Islands, trek the ancient Daintree rainforest, or relax on luxurious tropical islands such as Hayman and Lizard, a day at the reef is all about the unforgettable nature that surrounds you. Adopt Australia's easygoing attitude when you island hop or stay in one of the many coastal getaways such as Cairns, Arley Beach, Hervey Bay, Mission Beach, or Port Douglas. The Outback, or Red Centre as it is known, is an extraordinary landscape of desert plains, weathered mountain ranges, rocky gorges, and some of Aboriginal Australia's most sacred sites, including Uluru and Chucha. The Olgas. We'll just go with the Olgas. Floating in an outback waterhole, dining under a starry sky, or being serenaded by a didgeridoo and watching the world's most famous rock change colors at dawn and dusk are just some of the Red Centre's only in Australia experiences.
And for those that have never heard of didgeridoo, we will capture it at the end of this.
Yeah, you can hear one at the end.
Yeah.
Alice Springs, also known as the Alice or simply Alice, is the country's most famous outback town and gateway to the Red Centre on an Australian vacation. This remote town, it's halfway between Adelaide and Darwin, about 950 miles from the nearest major city, is popular as a gateway to the nearby natural wonders such as Ayers Rock and the Olgas in the middle of the rich red sand desert.
Look at that. Beautiful. It's right behind you as well, right?
Oh yeah, my little thing, yeah. Ayers Rock is a sandstone rock formation and a UNESCO World Heritage Site situated 280 miles southwest of Alice Springs. It is 1,140 feet high, but the bulk of the rock is actually underneath the ground. To give an idea of the size, the distance around the circumference is almost 6 miles. Despite its remoteness, Ayers Rock makes an unforgettable addition to your Australian vacation. A sacred site for the local Aboriginal people, Ayers Rock belongs to the Anunga, who have lived in and cared for the land for tens of thousands of years. The rock changes color at different times of day and year, glowing particularly red at dawn and sunset. And on our tour, we do it at sunset. We have sparkling wine, so kind of like your champagne at Ayers Rock, watching the sunset. And we also go back in the morning and watch the sunrise. So you get to see it both at sunset and sunrise.
So that's the intensity of the image behind you, right?
Yeah, the just glows with that red as the sun hits it. Okay, let's head up north. Darwin is located on the tropical tip of Australia. This is why we both talked, because if you're talking so long, you get tongue-tied. Tropical tip of Australia's north coast. Urban meets remote sums up the character of this city. Welcome to the Northern Territory's unhurried capital, Darwin, with its balmy nights, colorful characters, and outdoor adventures. As well as markets, crocodiles, and cruises, you'll find strong Aboriginal cultures here, as evidenced by the array of spoken languages in the streets and the vibrant Aboriginal art that fills the city galleries and museums. The city's proximity to Asia means you also find strong Asian influences, especially in the energetic food scene and night markets. 3 hours away from Darwin is the renowned Kakadu National Park, with its wetlands, many rock art galleries that reveal handprints of animals, hunters, and Dreamtime figures up to 50,000 years old, thundering waterfalls, and escarpments with breathtaking views. It is also the place to take a boat cruise and get close to the wildlife that exists here. You can even do a safari tour. Yay! I think this is a good time to look at some of the unusual animals you might find in Australia. With almost 400 mammal and 140 species of marsupials, Australia is known for interesting and different animals. 80% of the animals living in Australia are unique to Australia, with definitely some of the most unusual animals anywhere.
Mm.
There are about 50 million kangaroos living in Australia. That means that there are more kangaroos than people. Australia has 55 different species of kangaroos. Wallabies are usually smaller than kangaroos, but kangaroos come in all sizes, from very tiny to up to almost 200 pounds. They roam freely in the bushland, and one of the best places to experience kangaroos is Pebbly Beach, a 4-hour drive south of Sydney. Koalas live in eucalyptus forests along the eastern coastline of Australia. They grow up to 2.5 feet in height and weigh only 31 pounds. Baby koalas are called joeys and hide in their mother's pouch for the first 6 months. Koalas eat up to 2.5 pounds of eucalyptus leaves and sleep up to 20 hours a day. They are actually not bears at all, but their closest relative is the wombat. Wombats can quite commonly be spotted in the Blue Mountains National Park near Sydney. They feed on grasses, tips of shrubs, and bushes, and can weigh up to 80 pounds. Wombats are built for digging. Their barrel-shaped bodies and wide, strong feet with long claws enable them to excavate extensive systems of tunnels and chambers. A wombat can move up to 3 feet of dirt in a single day, and their poop is square.
Yeah,
They mark their territories by defecating, and it's thought that the shape of their poop keeps it from rolling away. They have special bones in their backside that allow them to squeeze and form their feces into cubes.
I would never, who knew?
Who knew? Dingoes are the biggest carnivorous mammals in Australia and can be found all over Australia except for Tasmania. And some evidence suggests that they may once have been pets, but were abandoned and left to revert to their wild state. It's believed that travelers from Indonesia or Southeast Asia dropped the once domesticated dogs in Australia roughly 4,000 years ago. The dogs, left to their own devices, thrived by falling back on their wolfish instincts of their ancestors. While some dingoes would travel and eat with Aboriginal tribes on the Australian continent, they were wary companions and certainly not pets. Quokkas are known as the happiest animals on earth and one of the best Scrabble words. So that's Quokka. The quokka selfie has become one of the hottest trends in Australia right now. Due to their vulnerable status in the IUCN Red List, handling these critters is a crime. But they are not afraid of humans and will readily approach them. So taking a selfie with one shouldn't be too difficult. And given how happy they always look, it's almost like they get like the attention. The best place to see the short-tailed wallaby is in Rottnest Island.
And check the baby in the pouch.
Oh yeah, and there was a baby in the pouch if you didn't know. You get so caught up in like the cute face and the guy's taking it, and you realize there's a little baby in its pouch. The platypus is one of the most unusual creatures in the animal kingdom. Platypuses, which is the correct plural form, not platypi, remember that for your Scrabble too, have a paddle-shaped tail like a beaver, a sleek, furry body like an otter, a flat bill, and webbed feet like a duck. Platypuses are among the few venomous mammals. Males have a spur on the back of their hind feet that is connected to a venom-secreting gland. The venom is not life-threatening to humans, but it can cause severe swelling and excruciating pain. Most mammals give birth to live young. Platypuses, however, lay eggs. They are a species of primitive mammals called monotremes. Echinids or spiny anteaters are the only other mammals that lay eggs.
Let's get it right. Echidnas.
Echidnas. The echidnas. The echidna has spines like a porcupine, a beak like a bird, a pouch like a kangaroo, and lays eggs like a reptile. Echidnas have the lowest body temperature of any mammal, 32 degrees Celsius. Their long lifespans, up to 50 years in captivity, and anecdotally, reports of wild animals reaching 45 years are due to their low body temperature and slow metabolism. The Tasmanian devil is an endangered animal and can only be encountered in the wild on the island of Tasmania off the coast of southern Australia, which we know. If you thought frogs and crickets made the loudest evening noises, think again. Tasmanian devils are named for the sound they make. In fact, the first European settlers to enter Tasmania began hearing unearthly, blood-curdling shrieks and growls from deep within the bush, making them imagine that demons had surrounded them in the wilderness. A mother Tassie gives birth to around 20 to 40 joeys at once. However, these joeys have to race to her pouch, which only has 4 teats. Talk about a hard start to life, because they're tiny birth size, about the size of a grain of rice. The ones that make it will live in their mother's pouch for roughly 3 months. Tasmanian devils have been considered to be endangered since 2008. One of the primary causes is being hit by cars when they attempt to retrieve roadkill. In addition, a facial tumor disease is spreading through the population. Oh, it's covering my words. Go away. So the tumor builds up in the affected animal's mouths and stops them from being able to eat. Tens of thousands of Tasmanian devils have died since the disease appeared in the late 90s. And it's really a very sad, but very big problem.
They've got a really concentrated breeding program going on as well to try and keep the numbers up. It's
a contagious contagious tumor that and they bite each other during mating. Their mating's actually quite aggressive, and they bite each other, and it's causing it to spread. So that's how it's spreading through the whole
population.
Poor Tasmanian devils. I hope they sort that out. The kookaburra is the world's largest kingfisher bird and grows up to 18 inches from beak to tail. It's known for its chuckling voice, which sounds like human laughter. Laughing kookaburras can be easily heard and thus easily spotted. Here is a great recap of some of what we have seen. Australia is such an amazing destination that just really needs to be experienced. And there's some great sounds in this little video. It's very short, so it's just be a great little recap. That's the didgeridoo.
Beautiful that is. Lovely. They're just gorgeous. Thank you.
So let's have a look and see if we have any questions or comments.
You do. There's a few chats and question and answers there.
Okay, so Jessica asked if Australia includes Tasmania or it's a separate trip. Our Australia tour that we have at this time does not include Tasmania, but we'll have future tours that could. We kind of change them around a bit. Australia is so big that to keep the time frame, to be able to experience things enough and not be totally rushed, because you're doing a lot of flying in Australia on the tour. It's just so big to get from one place to other. You have to so I got distracted by the next question. So we can include kind of everything. So our tour that we have coming up includes Sydney, includes Melbourne, includes Cairns, includes the Outback, does not include like Perth, does not include up to Darwin, does not include Tasmania. But we will have other tours that come up that will include other parts of that and maybe exclude some other parts. Just depends on length of tour and how much we can fit in. And because the tour we have now also, it's a 2-week tour, but then it backs on to a 2-week New Zealand tour.
Yeah.
And so another time we might do say a 3-week tour in just Australia. So it changes around. Carol would like to know, is the naked in the sky bar on the tour? Well, we are in Melbourne, so I am sure we could arrange to get you to the naked in the sky bar.
We can clarify exactly what it means, right?
Oh, and she would like to know where the Bee Gees live.
Well, there's not many of them left, but one is left, and yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think he's still in Australia because they go back, or they did go back and forth between England and Australia. Unfortunately, just one left.
They were born on the Isle of Capri or Isle of Man, and then they moved to Australia in the late 50s.
I think you're dating yourself, Debbie.
No, I had to Google it for her. I already answered her.
Good job, Debbie. Okay, and then we have Linda wants to know if the trip includes whale watching. Debbie, I know it includes.
No.
Out in Cairns, there's a lot of boat kind of activity. I don't know if there's whales out by Cairns. Do you know?
It's mostly the Great Barrier Reef for snorkeling, and the glass bottoms. You can see the bottom of the the Great Barrier Reef. So I don't think there's whale watching in that point.
Is there free time on the tour for women to actually get
Not a
involved?
lot.
No? Okay. Okay. We're jam packing it in. Okay.
Yeah, there's lots going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think whale watching is probably seasonal. Linda,
Yeah.
if you send me your email, I can do a little more research on this and when and where whale watching is good in Australia and kind of look at that compared to our tour, and I can give you a more exact answer on that. So just drop in your email for us. The currency in Australia and what is the exchange rate? The currency is the Australian dollar, and I haven't looked lately. It was almost equal, but let's have a look.
I think so, because it's showing that an Australian dollar right now is equal to a Canadian dollar.
Yeah,
And the Canadian dollar is approximately 30 cents less
Yeah.
than an American dollar. So
yeah. So I don't know if you're in Canada or, oh, Carol, I do know you're in Canada. So it's pretty much equal. And what is the population of Australia? Anybody got
Oh, we saw it originally, 15 million. Was
15
it the
million?
top? I think 15. I'll scroll back while you carry on and I will dig it out.
Okay, and then we have to add the naked sky bar to the tour, and then Carol's gonna join us.
Oh, we had to say that. Okay.
How much of our trip is vineyards and breweries? I think we do Yarra Valley, and there's one wine tour, I believe.
Just to correct it wasn't 15 million, it's 25 million.
Oh, they've been multiplying since she last checked, so 25 million. So between 30 and 40. No, sorry, Carol, yeah, so just a little less than because she thought 30 to 40 million. So 25 million, but the currency is equal.
Equal to the Canadian dollar.
To the Canadian dollar, yes.
Yeah.
Is the climb on the bridge part of the trip? No. I feel like all the questions is like, yeah, no, that's not actually on our tour. But
you are
but we are there, and we could arrange to do it. Something like that's anybody with height issues is not going to want to do it. So that is something that's a little bit better arranged when we're there and we know who and how many people, or we can arrange it ahead of time if we know people are interested in it, but it's not going to be something that everybody will want to do. The trip's 14 days, right, Debbie?
12
days. Okay, and let's see. Also, I am going to just have a look. If anybody wants to come on and say something or have a question that they want to say, I can open your mic. So just raise your hand, and I'll do that too. Hard. I don't know if anybody's ever done a Zoom kind of thing, but you've got all these different things to look at one time. So it's like I'm watching here, I'm watching there. Oh, somebody's hands went up. Now I have to find the hand that's up.
There's still a couple of questions coming in.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we've got a couple of people that want to talk, so let's let them ask their questions first, and then we'll go back to the other questions. Just keep track of them, Debbie. Hi, Carol. Carol Terentiak.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You said it well. Most people just say Carol T. So that'll. So I'm up here in Canada, and this is a great winter vacation for us because, of course, our winter is your summer, and your summer is our winter, and all that sort of thing. So I'm actually thinking about that. But what I really want to do, if I'm going to travel that far, I want to have a combined trip between New Zealand and Australia because I'm not coming back again.
We actually have that. If you go to our website or just send us, drop your email into, we'll send you the links to it, or even Debbie could put both tours maybe, put the other link in the chat. Because
I
we
put
do
the
have,
Australia one on already.
yeah, so we have Australia, and right before that we have almost 2-week trip to New Zealand. So they are connected.
So that's a full month. And
Yes.
so is there anything a little shorter than that?
Not right now. It's I think it's 12 days and 12 days, which is still almost a month, right? But it's because they're both so big, and to be able to
Yeah.
do each one justice, kind of, and once you're there, that it's because there's flights involved.
Yeah, no, I
even
completely
between-
understand. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm from Canada, so Newfoundland, people want to see Newfoundland and want to see Vancouver. Come on,
Yeah,
it's on the other side of the world. So
yeah,
you know, I get
exactly.
it.
So same kind of thing. So that's why it's it's like almost 2 weeks each. So it works out to, I think you're there for 24, 25 days altogether if you
Oh.
did.
And just, what's
Thank
the
you.
start date, Marianne? What is the start date? Do you remember?
It's November. Debbie would know.
Okay. Debbie, the start date of New Zealand's first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, New Zealand's first. Hang on, I don't know. I have to exit my screen constantly, so just
Oh.
second. It's November 16th to the 27th for New Zealand, and then Australia follows on the 27th.
Thank you.
Are good. Well, thank you, Carol. Thank you for your questions, and great if you wanted to join us on those tours. And now I have Carol Fisher.
Oh, Carol, you need to unmute or mute.
Yeah,
Unmute.
Yeah, just if you unmute yourself, Carol.
Yeah.
My question's in the chat. I mean, I don't understand how you can have a trip in November to Australia because their borders are closed until the end of 2021.
Well, if we can't go at that point, we would move the trip to new dates. At this point, we don't have official confirmation that the borders are closed. I know that they're closed right now, and I know that they don't know their date of reopening, but we are working with our tour operator there, and also with, border kind of concerns with the immigrations. And right now we don't have an official date for reopening.
Well,
So I don't know if you do, but if you do, if you could post in the chat where you have the date from. So if you could source that for us.
I have my date from the news, and my brother who lives in Australia.
Yeah, so we need more than kind of the hearsay, just because we're dealing with, people's money, people's actual, commitment to tours and such. So more than, oh, I heard, or it was on the news that it might be. So if you can actually have an actual source for that, that's great, because we are dealing with actual, Australia and the immigration and such.
I would say I'm surprised because it's on the Australian news, and so as far as I know, it's officially because I was actually going to visit my brother.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Well,
I do not.
Yeah, if you do see, if you have an actual source, but so far, either Canada's immigration and Australia's immigration have not come out with a date yet. But we definitely are watching that. It's a huge concern with every tour that we have planned and going on right now, because a lot of future travel is a little uncertain at this point of when we know it's going to start happening at some point, and it's going to we're all very much looking forward to when we can travel. It's just knowing that exact day, we just don't know yet.
So the other part of my question was, you say the trip's 12 days, that includes flying time?
That includes time from when you get to, it starts in Melbourne, ends in Sydney. So that includes from like when you starting in Melbourne and ending in Sydney. There are internal flights within it.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, a flight to get out to the Outback, and then a flight to get to Cairns, and then a flight from Cairns to get to Sydney.
Okay.
Just because the distance is involved, but the 12 days is from when you get there.
And there's
Okay, great, thank you.
Carol, there's a detailed itinerary on the website, so it
Mhm.
spells out every specific day, so you'll
Right,
know exactly what's going on.
okay, thanks, Irene.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. And okay, anybody else? Let's see, do we have we have some more questions I think that have come through in the question and answer.
Do you want me to?
Um,
Well, I keep reading the naked bar again.
I know. See, I told you you had to put it in there.
Okay.
Does it 12 days? Is there a grand tour with New Zealand? Yes. Julia, I think we kind of just mentioned that, so that probably came through before. Great summer, thank you.
I think that Debbie's
January, February. No, we only do, you know, each destination kind of once a year. Some destinations that aren't as popular are kind of a little bit different and unique. We might even do once every couple of years. So our tour is in November. January, February is their summer. It can be quite hot in some places too, depending on where you're looking at going in Australia. Some of the areas can be quite hot, and some are a little bit wet too. We mentioned that. If your trip's in 21, how does work with border school?
You answered that.
Yeah, you answered that.
Yeah. What's the typical age range? So our tours are open to women of any age, but the majority of women who travel with us are kind of in the 50 to 70 range. Most women around retirement time, coming up to retirement, just retired, that's kind of our core age group on most tours. And, yep. How long is the trip?
Oh, there's silence. Are you still there?
I'm just reading, sorry. I know, there's so much to read again.
I know.
I don't see any new questions. If anybody has any last minute questions, speak now. Or you can,
Just send them in to us. Info at.
yeah. Oh,
So-
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So any questions at all, just use our info at women's-travel-club.com. You can also find that on the website. Just send in your questions, and
Yep.
they'll be going by my desk, and I'll be happy to answer them for you.
And you could call us too. We
Yep.
have a toll-free number.
Yep.
So yeah, send a message. If you're on Facebook, you can connect us on Facebook too. And we would be happy to answer any questions you might have. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. We certainly enjoy these little weekly trips and visiting different areas. It's nice right now when nobody is actually traveling to get a chance to kind of see different places and at least dream and talk about traveling. Next week, we have a really interesting kind of COVID update. So we don't really know any more than everybody else does. But what we're going to do is give you some real information on what's currently known. We have some guest speakers that are kind of experts in their area coming on. And just a little update of as things start to get better in our world, where we're at and what it looks like for travel. So if you want to join us for that, you can sign up on our website under Travel Talk, and it's listed there. And then there's also the Travel Talks coming up for next month listed there too. So I hope to see everybody next week, and I hope everybody does have a great week. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good night. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone, night.
Bye.